Let's do it. So welcome everyone. Uh, we are so graced by the wonderful Jonathan Cruz. And one of the things, the amazing, the one, the only Jonathan Cruz. So one of the things that I think is important to know about him is he is absolutely, in my mind, a student of life. I have never met anybody that is more devoted to growing and developing himself on this planet. And even, long after classes we've shared together, he's always in that curious mind, kind of leveling himself up, asking the questions that didn't get asked. So he comes with a massive background in Vedic astrology, also as a coach, trauma-informed coach, and a somatic coach and mindfulness facilitator. And that's the short list. I know he's got a lot more underneath that belt, but that's what I know about our time. We know that you're a learner. But I'm really, really excited. So we're going to do a somatic coaching session. So we're going to start and just jump in with the process. I volunteered to be the guinea pig only because it's really kind of like intimidating to be in front of everybody, and especially if you're newer to somatic coaching. So I'm bringing a pretty rich topic, and so we'll see what happens. Jonathan, do you want to say anything before we get started?
Just that the purpose of this is to show the integration process. I've been a Vedic astrologer for a long time, a meditation coach, mindfulness, and so this is showing how the Vedic astrology gets integrated with the somatic coaching. Um, and I felt like just giving people intellectual understanding through the Vedic chart reading was not enough, because if there were significant traumatic blocks, then they found it very challenging to do anything with that information. So this is more, you know, getting into the core of one's experience in life and opening that up. So I'll turn it back over to you.
Well, I'm ready if you are.
Okay.
And thank you for that reminder of, that this is really, in many ways, it's an infusion of how you've taken all the coaching and brought it into what you're doing, that you're an expert at. So, yeah.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is I'd like to find out from you what's up. In other words, you're coming to this somatic coaching session. What has your attention in life in terms of things that you would love to remove the blocks to get more into what I would call your gift?
Well, I think the short story is all of my life I've been a performer. And when I shifted into coaching 3 decades ago, I really started to use my gift to help other people to leverage their gift. But along the way, I kind of lost my own gift in terms of being a performer and a musician. And I know, like, every time I go to, like, hey, I'm going to do an open mic, or hey, I'm going to maybe sing in front of people or write a song and perform it, where it's maybe not so much me helping other people with their voice and their freedom, but it's my own freedom. I kind of go, and I get into a freeze mode. And so I really love to get back that inner confidence
Mhm.
so that maybe I get up on a stage again. Yeah.
Well, let me just reference your chart, uh, very briefly. So, what I see is you've got Sun, an exalted Sun, which is leadership, power, authority. You've got Venus, the planet of the arts, and you've got Moon in the 11th house of entertainment. It's also the house of long-term goals, dreams, aspirations. Okay. Um, Another thing, so each one of these planets signifies a style or quality of intelligence within us. And what I see in your chart is that Saturn is really strong, and Saturn is the planet that, unlike what a lot of people and a lot of astrologers say it is not a punishing planet. What it does is it reflects back to us uh, our fears, our doubts, our hesitations, our self-limiting, self-created beliefs. And so its role is to stick it in our face so that we change, so that we take responsibility for this. So what I see in your chart, Afrosha, is Saturn is strong and it aspects those three planets. So what that aspect is, it's an influence. It's an influence of constriction. Okay, so you've got the emotional planet of the moon, and the moon is also early instinctual impressions. You've got, and so when Saturn influences the moon, then there's emotional constriction. There's oftentimes seen trauma, and very often early life trauma. Feeling like you're shut out, like you can't move in the area that what you want to move in. Venus, Saturn's influence on Venus is the planet of relationships, but it's also the planet of the arts. And so the classical arts, the performing arts, and Sun is, as I said, power and authority, and it owns the third house of the classical and the performing arts. Moon owns the house of voice. Okay, so we see singers when we have a prominent influence there. And Venus, as I said, is the arts. So what I see is some constriction in how you express yourself, how you were allowed to express yourself early on. And so if there was anything in your early upbringing that resembled in any way trauma around that self-expression, around singing, around fulfilling your dreams and aspirations, then that gets lodged in the cellular structure of the body. Just talking about it in talk therapy doesn't really move the energy because all these things, it's just energy. But in the case of Saturn influencing that, it's stuck energy. It's constrained. And so, therefore, taking a body-centered approach, where it's stored in the cellular structure. So that's what we could do today, is do a somatic process to see if we can really get to releasing the deep energy that is constraining you. So let's start first by getting grounded in our body. So just close your eyes and feel the weight of the feet on the floor, the weight of your body on the chair, the position of your arms. Really tune into that because we want to get very present in this moment in our body. And then bring your attention gently to the breathing. So notice the air passing over your nostrils on the inhale, down your throat, gently filling your lungs. And as you exhale, feel the flow of your breath from your lungs, through your throat, and out your nostrils. So just continue to feel this rhythmic flow of your breath. And this is grounding you further in your body. Bring your awareness to the whole body, feeling the muscles soften and letting go with each exhale. Now that you're more centered in your body, what is it exactly that you would like to focus on? And
My
yeah, go ahead.
my confidence with singing.
Okay. And are you aware of a place in your body that is lacking that confidence? Uh-huh.
A little bit of gut.
Yeah.
So
So a constriction in your throat.
my gut, you can't see my belly, but yeah.
Oh, okay. So both your throat and your gut.
Mhm.
Okay. So just be with those places and be with where you feel it most dramatically, where in the body, because that happens to be where a lot of the stress got stored. So just be with it. Maybe using your breath to breathe into those places. Now, does this place where you're feeling the constriction, does it have a size?
It's almost like a 5 inch by 5 inch triangle.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm definitely feeling more on my throat than my gut right now, but
Yeah.
it's almost like there's something that's really with my jaw
Yeah.
that's attached to my throat.
So it has a size and a shape. Uh, is there a color?
Bone color.
Bone color. Okay. Um, anything else as you're just gently with that place? Anything else that comes up? And it can be anything. It can be a thought, a sensation, um, an emotion.
What I'm noticing right now is there's let me describe it. It's almost like a tugging and it's making my eyes feel watery. But I'm proud to say I have no thoughts.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's more of like I can just feel it like this.
Huh.
That probably wasn't the best face, but
So it feels like there's something clamping down.
yeah.
Yeah. So continue to be with it, whatever impressions come up. But if you could, if you could give it a voice, what would it tell you? And take all the time that you need. What would this clamping down say to you?
You better say something smart.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it's not so much speaking, it's better be smart, better be good.
So if you stay with that a little bit more, what else would this voice be telling you?
It's not safe because they're gonna get judged.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's not safe to speak. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're gonna get judged.
Yeah.
I just had a big memory on that one.
Mhm. What was that?
Oh, I just had a memory of being in undergrad where I was with a lot of people that used 4 syllable vocabulary, like they spoke in these really amazingly multi-syllable words, and I didn't know half the words. and I felt really, really small.
Uh-huh. Was that a familiar experience? Like some aspect of that you'd experienced before?
Yeah, I would say the feeling of not being enough or not belonging. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you still feel that in your throat, your face, your whole neck region.
It's kind of moved down, the feeling,
Hmm.
like it's almost like my jaw feels a little bit more released, but now it's kind of coming more towards my heart. It's almost like the triangle. I'm feeling a little bit more heaviness in my shoulders and a little bit more pressure in my heart.
Okay. But just stay with that feeling, see where it takes you.
What's coming up is a bit of a memory of my jaw surgeries where I had to have my mouth reconstructed,
What age were you?
probably like 14,
Hmm.
15. And the first surgery didn't work. And I had to be wired shut both times.
It's been traumatic.
Yeah.
So
What's awesome? Go ahead.
I was just going to say, ask if there was any more impressions, particularly from childhood, that might have contributed to this.
Well, I think just my upbringing in general, children should be seen but not heard. But what also came up was I don't know if I ever let those wires truly come off after that.
Uh,
Ooh, yeah.
so, what resource would you bring to releasing the constriction created by the wires? Just the awareness of it is pretty significant.
Yeah. Well, what's coming to mind is community. Because, like, as my mom said, you can't do anything by yourself. You always have to have people around. And I hate to say it, but it's true. I like to be in community. So I think maybe finding a safe container to open my mouth a little bit more.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What's interesting is that this 11th house, where Venus, Sun, and Moon are sitting, is the house of community. Friends, clubs, groups, associations, societies. And as I mentioned already, it's the house of entertainment. And Sun um, owns the third house of the classical and the performing arts. So there's a, a very significant involvement in terms of bringing in resources to heal this constrictive influence. So just staying with that, what would you say are some of the positive things that you could employ to really heal this and move forward in your expression of using your voice and
Yeah.
using your emotions?
Well, I think the first thing that comes to mind is I know, like, can't remember, like the Alexander technique, which I'm familiar with to a certain level, but I have a wonderful colleague who does wonderful work with it, just trusting to like stick with it because it's a slow process of maybe uncoiling some of this. I mean, I've had 3 sets of braces and 2 jaw surgeries, so I never thought about how much. I've always thought it was about my singing, but I think this is more about how much shame that my family put around how I looked.
Mhm.
You know, in terms of my mouth, my teeth were pretty all over the place. Wow. um, and I think, yeah, I'm kind of stuck a little bit because I'm going, I think what I thought it was, like, it's about my voice and singing. It's like now I'm like, this is a whole different thing that's underneath it. And
It seems to have connected you with a pattern of shame.
oh, yeah, you're not pretty enough because your teeth are so bad. And I even had a performing arts teacher tell me I needed to get braces again because my teeth weren't perfect and I would never make it. And I did.
Mhm.
And now I'm stuck wearing a retainer for the rest of my life.
So does this shame have any place in your body that it resides?
Mm, right here.
Mhm.
Like, it's on fire. I almost want to say the masseter muscle, just like,
Mhm. Clamping down on the shame.
yeah.
So with these awarenesses, what would you be able to bring out into the world that would really counter the shame? And shame is no easy thing to
Yeah.
counter.
I feel grace that it's only in this part of my life. Everything else feels pretty healthy. But I
Mhm.
think maybe speaking with my mom
Mm.
and maybe because there might be an unconscious contract with, I mean, she talks like right now her dentures broke.
Mhm.
Um, and it's like when she was really young, the medical model that my grandparents were told were her teeth are bad, take them all out. And then she didn't want to do that to me as my mom. And so she just kept trying to fix my mouth, fix my mouth. And of course, um, that had its own ripple effects. And I think maybe talking with her about that maybe could bring a little bit of that
Mhm.
inner peace, a little bit of acceptance that everybody was doing the best they could.
Mhm. But it's a pretty big thing to become aware that the source of all this seems to be the shame you felt
Yeah.
from the mouth and the face, the dental problems. So what else might be really beneficial to move this energy? Because it's just energy.
Yeah. I know what would be really helpful is to bring together maybe some tools and techniques that I've created and kind of take my own medicine, um, focusing on more of my breath and less of my voice initially. Um, so almost some like vocal somatic work,
Mm-hmm.
I think. Uh, like I like my voice when I hear it, but
I'd,
it's like the, go ahead.
I'd love to hear you sing.
Yeah. Like I'm like, oh, sounds pretty good, and so I don't hate my voice. It's just that there's something like when I think about it, it's like every time you open your mouth, there's so much energy around my teeth. So maybe part of it is doing more breath work. Maybe part of it is just committing to showing up in one small way to kind of have a different experience, if that makes sense. Like maybe getting on a stage or doing a open mic or even doing karaoke. That in itself has its challenges.
Would it be helpful to bring compassion to that little child who had to undergo all that trauma?
Yeah.
You know, because that's what little Ferocious didn't get is compassion. She got fixing, but
Right.
not compassion.
Yeah.
So is there anything else around this? You had mentioned the gut. Just wondering if there's anything else that's vying for attention.
My gut feels pretty good right now.
Good.
And I'm starting to feel a lot of the tension draining. I could interestingly I feel the back of my neck where it feels like almost like this was so heavy that this
Mhm.
is pulling me up. So I think sometimes self-touch, just reconnecting with the muscles. Maybe I need to do a little bit of a body map, but I'm feeling,
But even when you're connecting with your face and your neck muscles, do it as the good mother.
yeah.
But did that feel complete, or is there something else that the body is trying to tell you?
It feels complete and I'm giggling. I don't know if you can hear, but I've got a very loud crow.
He's celebrating with you.
Well, we have a lot of crows. So sometimes I say hi to them, and now they're saying hi back.
Yeah, they're actually a symbol of Saturn.
Oh no.
Yes. And so the fact that they're cawing, that seems very auspicious.
Hmm.
You know, because I said Saturn is not there to punish. It's there to help us move the energy back into alignment with more of our divine purposes. So if it feels complete, just start to wiggle your hands and your feet. You want to come back very slowly. Any place of tension in your body, you can move around a little bit. And then slowly open the eyes and come back into the room and really resource the room in terms of presence. Now you're aware of the computer screen, you're aware of the space that you exist in, the chair. And this helps bring us back into a more integrated place. So would you like to talk about, comment on any of the experiences or the process? And then we'll take questions.
Yeah. I think what my brain still kept turning on. I think what was so surprising was once I got into that sense of internal safety, that relaxed state. And I think sometimes I will have memories come up and I'll be like, yeah, but this time I just was like, all right, let's study that memory as opposed to push it away.
Mm-hmm.
Let that feeling, like when we were talking about being with it, let it live within. And usually it will dissipate, but it didn't this time. So you being present with that it just kind of like got bigger and bigger. Kind of felt like we were tapping at a much deeper place than I've been before.
Do you feel I gave you enough time to explore that?
Yeah, I started to feel a little like, ooh, I just had a big aha and I really wanted to go in my head. Which can happen, it's like, okay, all right, got process, and so just integrating that, and maybe looking at, I think I was looking in the wrong corner.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's about my voice, and it's about my teeth and my mouth.
Mm-hmm. And how do you think this approach, this process differed from what you might have done, in coaching or therapy, where it was just talking about
Yeah.
the issue?
Well, I feel like, from a somatic approach, we're always really tapping into the body wisdom. And I feel like it's just a deep, deep listening. And, that internal safety, once it's built, allows us to kind of explore what's at the subconscious level, where I feel like in traditional coaching, as you know, it's like question, reflection. It's like super engaging upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
And for someone like me, where I'm already pretty busy upstairs as a client, that, I love the somatic work because I get out of my own way. My head shuts down and I can really feel and think, or I should say, not so much feel and receive,
Mm-hmm.
which is very, to me, the magic of it all. Yeah.
And there are parts of us, the young parts of us, that come online before the intellect comes online. They're called implicit memories, and if there are traumatic experiences during that time, they they don't really have an intellectual structure. So it's more important that you go into the body and sense what's going on, because those are incredibly important because they are so formative.
Yeah.
When we um, we don't have an intellect form for a while. And so there's no real way to talk about it. And so what we do is take this body-centered approach, this somatic approach, and just let the body unfold to the awareness, what's actually there. And in the case of Saturn's influence, getting back to astrology, what's stuck? What's constricted? What keeps us in an emotional wounding? And so your chart really spoke tons to this issue of singing and performing. Fourth house of the second house of voice, owned by the moon. The third house of the classical and the performing arts, owned by the sun. And then Venus owns the house of creative expression. And all those planets were, I wouldn't say adversely influenced by Saturn, because that makes it like Saturn is the bad guy. It's Saturn is reflecting the constriction by its aspect onto those three planets. Any other impressions?
Yeah, I actually wanted to say something. I think because we were tapping into childhood matter, and obviously I was in a resource state, so we were staying within the lines. But I think somatic coaching really does help to get us out of the story, get us out of the narrative. It also allows us to pull upon, and come into contact with all that's shaped us throughout our life without going into therapy. Like we weren't needing to go and revisit and dig in. It was just what was coming through, and I just really appreciate that. So.
Yeah, that's the beauty of this somatic work, is that really the body, we don't really realize that the body is such a resource for tapping in to the experiences, both positive and negative. I wouldn't say negative, I'd say challenging, because there's nothing negative in a chart, unlike what a lot of astrologers would want you to believe. It's just challenges to be met. So,
Thank you.
yeah. Anything else?
No, I feel good. I'm interested to take some questions, and then
Yeah, that'd be fun.
with that in mind, what I'd like to do is Sky put a question in the chat, but I'm actually going to ask Sky to pop on to, if you could turn your camera on and ask it verbally. And then I'm going to.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. So I love astrology. I actually was in a corporate arena before for a very long time. And secretly, I used astrology to help me hold space for people and try to better understand them when I was communicating with them. I would love to pull astrology into my coaching, but not everybody understands it, or a lot of people have been taught that it's really woo-woo and it's something that's on the other side. And how did you bring astrology into your sessions so that it was more comfortable for people, and maybe a gentle introduction so they started pulling themselves out of that loop and being more comfortable with using it as a tool to benefit them?
Yeah, it's a good question. In part, it's how you frame it. And so you could say you use this technique to understand the pattern of your life experiences. Because that's what karma is. Karma uh, is the unfoldment of life experiences. Unfortunately, we've developed a negative understanding with the use of that word. And there's so much confusion out there. So you can avoid the term astrology, you can avoid the term karma, but it's really about looking at the pattern of life experiences that a person was meant to have in order to grow and evolve back to oneness. And so, we are oneness, but we have all these mental, physical, and emotional overlays that inhibit the experience of this universality that we are. Instead, it forces us into fixed identifications that are like prisons.
I love that. Fixed identifications that are like prisons.
Yeah. Because, that's what a lot of our personality is just a fixed way of relating to the world, when in actuality, we are consciousness that's in the flow of life. And whatever experiences come, we adapt in a very smooth way to those experiences, but we don't get fixed.
Can I ask just one quick question? It's a recommendation.
Yeah.
Is there a book that really helped you envelope that into your practice?
You mean the astrology?
Yes, and also I loved how you used the word body wisdom, which Ferocious probably said in the past, but I just want to compliment you because we've done a lot of training, and then also there's been a lot of somatic work, and then she has a lot of classes on it. But one thing I learned with my own eyes without taking separate classes is how you gave her so much time to be present in her body. Whereas when you're training in the beginning, when you're going for your ACC, you're so busy trying to get everything done. I really got to see for the first time how you really let her have time to soak completely into herself. And so is there a recommendation on some kind of book? And then also astrology too would be great because I love to read. So I like to have my Bibles in my bookshelf.
Yeah, I would have to say that it's me being in my body that can feel what's going on. If I'm in my head, I should do this now, I should wait. It's not going to be that spontaneous open flow. But if I'm in my body and I feel, uh, it's like empathy. If you're not in your body, how can you empathize with somebody? And so I think that's what I would recommend, is really being with yourself and really feeling the changes in the client rather than having to guess.
Thank you.
Does
I'm going
that,
to pick
does
some
that
more.
help?
Well, I am a reader, so I was hoping for a book, but that's okay. Ferocia will give me one, I'm sure.
Are you talking about somatic stuff? There's so much out there that,
I thought you might have a favorite.
well, Dan Siegel
Okay.
is really good. There's a lot of people out there, body-centered, um, you know, somatic experiences, Peter Levine, Pat Ogden. There's a lot of people that really are at the center of this transfer. This is a transformation in psychology. And this is one of the things that makes me believe that we're not going down the tubes on this
Mm.
planet, that there's so much transformation in psychology, so much spirituality, so many teachers and gurus moving around the planet, many advancements in alternative healing. How could that happen if we were going down the tubes?
That's beautiful. I love it. I'll pass over to Lisa.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to say before I queue up our next person, a lot of those things that Jonathan's talking about, Sky, are going to be in the second half of your training with the ACT program that I know you're eventually going to be at too. So I gotcha. I gotcha. And I just really wanted to echo that it is so important because when you think about traditional coaching, which many people come to a level 1, level 2 school like ours because they want to become an ICF certified coach, and a lot of that is the coaching conversation. But I feel like the real advanced work and the real work gets done is after you've been able to do that conversation and that trust is built, then introducing more of the depth work, bringing in different, like I love that Jonathan has a style that is unique to him that infuses somatic, trauma-informed, and Vedic astrology. And so you're going to see a really different style than a traditional coaching method. But a lot of times that deep presence is what's going to give everybody a chance to really move forward, the coach and the client, because the brain needs space. The body is communicating. And I think we're in a world still where we're so focused on mindset and to-do list and tasks, and we're not listening to the innate body wisdom that is there. And a lot of that is owning your own body. So I think our next person, let me see. I've got, is it Simone? Did you want to hop on? And then I'll go to Lisa. I'll read Simone. We've got some people that are using the chat, and then Lisa's doing her hand. So, all right, Simone, go ahead, please.
Yes, I just wanted to commend you both for that beautiful demonstration and ask a question about the form of astrology. Do you find that it makes a difference in your interpretations as it applies to coaching? Also, human design, where do you find that fits in the mix, if at all?
You can, any good form of astrology, whether it's human design or Vedic astrology or Western astrology, you can adapt it. It's just how you have taken in that knowledge and imbibed it, then it'll kind of flow into the coaching session in a very natural way. But it's really about imbibing the wisdom, the knowledge in each of these things. They're all viable forms of life guidance. I particularly feel that Vedic astrology is the most profound because it's thousands and thousands of years old. But my wife does Western astrology and she does a wonderful job with it. So I think it's just whatever speaks to you.
Thank you.
Thanks for the question, Simone.
Thank you. Lisa, hop on, and I'll go to Ava.
Yes, hello. Hi, Jonathan. I think we
Hey,
met
Lisa.
some years ago. I was to get in touch. So nice to see you. Yeah, I love astrology too, so it was really great to watch your demo. Thank you. And just wondering a little bit more in depth about how you work with astrology and coaching, like in multiple sessions. Do you use it, to kind of help the client, validate what they're going through as you're, demonstrating with Frosha? It's like, oh, right, some of these issues, they're not necessarily predetermined, but they are in the chart. So it's very affirming. Of course, that might be a struggle that comes up, if the person might be feeling, not just like Frosha, but like, why, what's the problem? Why can't I just get over this? It's like, oh, this is, part of your soul path, etc. Do you constantly kind of refer to the chart and do you look at, transits, in a coaching relationship with what's coming up
I
for the
do.
person? Yeah, just curious more.
It's because it's a key point of reference in a person's life to understand the karmic experiences that they were meant to have in order to evolve. And so it's always relevant. How much in each session I depend on that, it's, whatever feels appropriate in the moment. But yeah, I do come back to reference the chart on a frequent basis. So it's a good question. Thank you.
Ava, how are you?
Thank you so much. That was really beautiful. I got teary sitting here. I'm just curious because I know you're very much present when you're coaching, Jonathan, because I've coached with you and you're very much, kind of stay in your body and you guide the person while you're present. But since like we're in a coaching class structure, do you use at all any kind of structure and be it, like the who, what, where, how, or Ferosha has this beautiful dance your way style. Do you kind of follow any kind of guideline? Because I notice like I get stuck. For example, during your coaching, I was like, well, what would I ask now? And then you have the perfect question, right? Like, what resource would you bring into this right now? I'm like, where do you get that question all of a sudden?
It's really a question of using your intuition, which, it's knowledge in the moment. It's where I'm guided to. And so I don't really have a structure. I'm not against a structure, but as long as it doesn't encumber the spontaneity of the process,
Okay. You
or
know enough where you just pull out of your toolbox.
yeah, or where it's actually submerges the feeling or gets the person into their head. That's what we want to avoid. Did that answer your question?
I guess, yeah. So I guess everything is so individual that there's no way to kind of blanket anything.
Well, what I found is that if you've got a good command of the essentials, and that's a lot of the structure that Parosha has imparted. If we know that pretty well, then we've imbibed it and then we use it as it seems appropriate.
The ferocious teachings. Okay, sounds good.
And of course, everything else that you've learned.
And still learning, I'd say.
Yeah. It is not limited to just what we've gotten from Ferosha. It's our life experience that we're bringing in.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
sometimes that's really important.
Yep, I agree. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Dave, I just wanted to remind you,
Yeah.
you were in the somatic class. There, if you go back in there, there's a whole arc, the transformational arc that's different than the Dance Your Way footsteps.
Yeah, true.
more.
Yeah,
But you got this.
some days.
I think we all feel that way. It's like there's the days where we're like, I'm on fire. And next day it's like, my clients aren't working. Oh, it's me. Susie, hop on in.
Hey, Susie.
Hey, great to see you all. As always, whoops, I tried to turn my camera on. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so Jonathan, thank you so much for this. It really was very amazing. And please forgive my ignorance. I signed up for this because I was very curious about it, but I have zero experience or knowledge with any of this. And I guess my question is, what tools did you use to find out Ferocia's signs and planets and things like that?
Yeah, I've got a computer program based on the science of Jyotish or Vedic astrology. Jyotish is the Sanskrit term.
Okay.
And so I plug in her time, date, and place of birth.
Okay.
And then it spits out a chart. And then in looking at the chart, I see what the influences are. And so when I looked at her chart, I saw that there was this strong influence of Saturn. So that's what I take note of. You know, the chart really shows your gifts, your strengths, your talents and abilities, but it also shows where you trip yourself up. And it's very important for understanding underlying trauma patterns.
Okay.
You know, particularly with Saturn influencing the moon, or the nodes influencing the moon, or what we call the fourth house, which is the house of emotions and the house of parents and ancestry. And so what we get from them. So I look at those things. But, you know, there are probably other ways of doing it. It's just that I've been studying this for many years and have a certain facility with it. But there probably are other very important ways. And, you know, just talking to people, you know, if they're expressing some block, you know, ask them, well, is this familiar? You know, have you encountered this before? Was there something in your family of origin that reflected this block? And that's really kind of all you need to know, because so much comes out of the family of origin. Because that's where our karmas first start to sprout.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. And thank you, Sky. I think I was kind of looking for a start. So I really appreciate the resource, Sky.
Well, nice to see you, Susie.
You too, Jonathan.
So
Right.
any questions?
We've got about 2 minutes, so maybe it's time to share a little bit more. So, Jonathan, could you put in the chat your website on how people could get a hold of you? And we'll obviously send that information out with the recording and everything like that. But I just wanted to say thank you to everybody for being here. If you have other questions, you know, please shoot them my way and I'll forward them on to Jonathan. Jonathan has been a deep inspiration for me because in many ways, he really embodies the depth and potential of really holding deep space and letting the client do their own work, and brings so much into the coaching process and makes it uniquely his own. So if there aren't any other questions, I hope that you all have a wonderful day. And Jonathan, do you want to say anything?
No, I just really enjoyed the opportunity to, you know, really look at what you've given in terms of the somatic, what I've learned from, you know, different areas in the field of modern psychology, and just, you know, I guess just the feeling like there's so much available to us, and you know, it's nice to actually use this in a way that can help with healing. And so much can be healed by bringing it to the conscious level. And that happens through the body generally. So just really appreciating the wisdom, the knowledge, the genius of body intelligence. So are you going to send this recording out to people? Prussia? Good.
Perfect. All right, my dear ones, Solana has posted some of our next upcoming events. I will get our recording processed, and Solana will be sending it out to everybody that RSVP'd, and definitely we're missing a few people here that are probably waiting for it right now. I'm getting the email. So. All right, thank you, everyone. Mwah. Thank you for holding a beautiful container. Take good care.
Thanks, everybody.